Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to our webinar on Startup Finance Basics Every Founders Must Know. I am Sanjana and it's a pleasure to be your host on behalf of Satna Incubation Center and Satna Smart City Development Limited. आज के सेशन स्पेशली उन सब फाउंडर्स और एंटरप्रेन्योर्स के लिए डिजाइन किया गया है जो अपने स्टार्टअप को स्मार्टली ग्रो करना चाहते हैं लेकिन फाइनेंस के कॉन्सेप्ट को लेकर थोड़ा सा अनश्योर फील करते हैं. सो लेट्स बी ऑनेस्ट, ग्रेट आइडियाज और इनोवेशन के साथ साथ एक स्टार्टअप को ग्रो करने के लिए सॉलिड फाइनेंस अंडरस्टैंडिंग होना इक्वली इम्पोर्टेंट है. फ्रॉम बजटिंग टू फोरकास्टिंग, कॉस्ट कंट्रोल टू इन्वेस्टर रेडीनेस, ये सब कुछ हम आज सिंप्लीफाई करने वाले हैं. तो चाहे आप आइडिया स्टेज पे हो या स्केलिंग फेज में है, दिस सेशन विल गिव यू द क्लैरिटी, स्ट्रक्चर एंड कॉन्फिडेंस टू हैंडल योर स्टार्टअप फाइनेंशियल्स. So now it's my absolute pleasure to introduce our expert speaker, Dr. Himanshu Puri, the co-founder and COO of LegitQuest, a leader with deep expertise in financial operations and product marketing. Sir has worked closely with startups across various sectors, helping them building solid financial strategies, managing burn rates, and scale sustainability. He brings a rare combination of practical expertise and strategic insight, something every founders can benefit from. So let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Himanshu Puri as he takes us through this crucial topic. And so before we start, just quick note for our viewers. अगर आपके कोई भी क्वेश्चंस हैं ड्यूरिंग द सेशन, फील फ्री टू ड्रॉप देम इन द चैट बॉक्स एनी टाइम. वी विल टेक देम अप during the Q&A segment at the end of the presentation. And let's keep this session interactive, engaging, and truly valuable for everyone. So let's start the session. Over to you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much, Miss Sanjana Singh, for the warm welcome. I really appreciate the invitation received by Satna Incubation Center. और I'm really happy कि आज I got an opportunity कि at least young founders में मैं अपनी वो चीज़ शेयर कर पाऊँ जो मुझे लगता है काफियों में मिसिंग है. Because I'll tell you very honestly, I come from a finance background. So I'm a doctorate in finance, MBA in finance. So my forte has been finance. But when I entered Sanjana ji into the startup ecosystem, I saw that finance was not given a due importance. Like you very well set it up the context. You know, लोग जब founders, co-founders बनते हैं, they start their venture. Whatever is there in their mind is कि मेरा idea क्या है. और वो गलत नहीं है. आई विल नॉट से कि वो गलत है. दैट इज डेफिनेटली टू स्टार्ट ऑफ विद. आइडिया क्या है, वो स्केलेबल है क्या नहीं है, ये हमने बहुत इसके ऊपर वेबिनार सेशंस देखे हैं, करे हैं, राइट. और उसके बाद सबसे मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट चीज आ जाती है कि ओके, इफ द आइडिया इज स्केलेबल, वो लेट मी स्ट्रेट अवे जंप इनटू मेकिंग द प्रोडक्ट. तो प्रोडक्ट बहुत सेंटर फोकस्ड एरिया बन जाता है फॉर अ स्टार्टअप, एंड दैट इज वेरी नेचुरल क्योंकि मेरे को अपने प्रोडक्ट से प्यार हो ही जाता है. बिकॉज दैट इज वेयर आई गैदर द कस्टमर इनसाइट. मैं बनाता कस्टमर की प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करने के लिए यूं, तो मैं कस्टमर की प्रॉब्लम के पीछे इतना भागता हूँ, उसके सॉल्यूशन के पीछे इतना भागता हूँ. प्रॉब्लम सॉल्यूशन के ऐसे चीजों में मैं इतना टाइम स्पेंड कर देता हूँ दैट I may tend to ignore other important aspect is the kind of gap I saw. और होता क्या है, प्रोडक्ट भी बन गया फॉर एग्जाम्पल, राइट. वी हैव गॉट अ फैंटास्टिक प्रोडक्ट. द नेक्स्ट स्टेप, द नेक्स्ट स्ट्रेस फॉर अ फाउंडर इज द GTM. Okay, now I have to introduce, go to the market, introduce this product, and what not. So it's a very rigorous journey. I do understand. I have seen in multiple ventures, myself, while working with the startups, unicorns, and so this is a true reality. That is how the things get started. But yes, like we always hear and learn, finance is the pipeline. It is the blood and the lifeline of everything. Because until unless you have money, you can't even think of creating a team. You can't even think of, having that team building a product for you, having the marketeers who will take your product to the market. So everything is zero until unless you have money. And everyone understands the importance of money. And the journey starts by yourself. That you start accumulating your savings. That is how you begin. Okay, you see in my saving account, there are like, 30, 40,000. Can I go ahead and give a certain shape to my idea? कुछ कर सकता हूँ, MVP डिजाइन कर सकता हूँ. That's how it starts, right? तो पहली बार जब पैसों की बारी आती है, वो यहाँ से आती है कि ओके, मेरा आइडिया है, स्केलेबल है, प्रॉब्लम गैदर कर ली, सॉल्यूशन कर लिया, सब कुछ कर लिया, GTM मैं ऐसे करूंगा, टीम ऐसे बनाऊंगा, बट everything boils down to whether do I have any money in my pocket to really fund all these activity. यहाँ से फाइनेंस शुरू होता है, to be very honest. And then कहो ना कहो, founders, they have to give emphasis to the finance at their back of their mind, I would say, right? But again, you set it up the context very well, and I'm taking it forward कि finance को थोड़ा सा हम लोग हल्का सा maybe sideline कर देते हैं, but I think I was trying to make you understand, the whole audience, that finance के बिना actually कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता. You can't even think of it. And just to add to that, it's not about just managing also कि ओके मेरे पास 40,000 रुपया है, 10,000 रुपये में मैं एक टेक का बंदा हायर करूंगा, उससे प्रोडक्ट बनवाऊंगा, 10,000 रुपये की मैं फेसबुक पे मार्केटिंग करूंगा. यू विल फोरकास्ट बजट लाइक दैट, जो आप बता रहे थे. दैट इज हाउ इट स्टार्ट्स. बट देयर इट हैज टू बी वन स्टेप अहेड, आई वुड से, बिकॉज फॉर अ फैंटास्टिक फाउंडर, you know all the numbers has to be on your tips. When I say all the numbers, definitely during the session we'll talk about those metrics, that specific financial metrics that even investor would like to ask you. What is your burn? What is your sort of runway? What is your profit loss, whatever. So we'll come to that stage maybe. So but I just wanted to introduce this aspect, that it's not just about कि मेरे पास 40,000 है, मैं I'll just manage my expenditure, और उसमें से मैं कितना पैसा रेवेन्यू कमाऊंगा, कैसे मैनेज करूंगा. आई थिंक इट इज मोर देन दैट, आई वुड से. बट द बिगिनिंग इज दिस. बट देन you have to emerge as a fantastic founder by keeping a well sound track of your finances and those financial metrics, because everything is number. Your business is measured with a number. Today, when you pitch to an investor, they will straight away gonna ask you, what's your profit? What's your revenue? What's your growth numbers? Right? And when you say, I am having a month on month growth of 200%, I think that's a fantastic number. Month on month, 200% is amazing, mind boggling, right? So that defines your business in just one line. And that is how you can impress the investor. But another venture says, I am just growing by 10% month on month. That's the distinguishing element a number can create when you are raising fund, for that matter. So that's why I'm again emphasizing on this number game. You need to manage your finances well, have a strong hold on the financial metrics, and that is what we're gonna delve deeper into in the next discussion, for another 30 minutes or so. So moving further, like I mentioned, so that's the first step. So हर लोग बताएंगे फर्स्ट स्टेप है, मैं आपको बताऊंगा करना क्या है, हाउ टू स्टार्ट ऑफ वेरी ऑनेस्टली. व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड ऑफ वेरी ऑनेस्टली, ठीक है, हमने देखा मेरे पास 2 लाख है, 5 लाख है. यू डोंट हैव टू डू एनीथिंग. एवरीवन शुड हैव अ बेसिक स्किल ऑफ लर्निंग एक्सेल. एक्सेल भी नहीं आता तो भी कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. देर आर बॉक्सेस, cells inside it, rows, column. Start filling it. That's the simple way to start. That's the first step. Because अगर यहाँ पे आप लोग अटक गए हो, you have to go back, learn from somewhere, maybe a YouTube online video, I don't know, maybe sit with your friend, understand how to just put in numbers into the Excel, right? I'm just presuming that Excel is today a very basic skill. Everyone has it. So probably I can just show you how you can manage and start from the very first day. So I'll just share my screen and I'll show you a very simple template. Okay, let's not get into the technology product. There are fintech companies who will help you so many problems. मैं वो भी बताऊंगा in this session, so that you are a better founder maybe in future. But how to start off, करना क्या है, the first thing is definitely just open your Excel. Probably I can show you the template that I made on the very first day for my own venture, right? So I'm just sharing my screen, and let me just open a kind of a cost sheet. So I named it as a cost sheet for that matter, right? And it is just opening up. Just give me a second. Yeah. So see, so if you see, it's nothing. Just I have mentioned in the columns the months, if you could see, right? If you want, I can just zoom in a little more. So just mention your columns, and every month you track those numbers. Just segregate your expenses. My first expense item is product development and maintenance. You might be buying a domain, www dot xyz.com. You might be using a cloud, AWS, some vendor, technology vendor, some maintenance cost, website cost. So there's a product development and maintenance cost on, all the money you can enter here. For example, I'm spending 5,000 here for that matter, right? So just put in numbers like that, and you will have a sum of all the technology costs that you have incurred in August 2020, right? Operations cost, because you'll be having a registration cost, paid to a maybe a CA or a CS for registering your startup as a LLP or a private organization, whatever. So we'll not get into those kind of a thing, but you choose a particular, a type of organization, and then you move and get it registered under the Companies Act or under the Limited Liability Act as a LLP. Then there are other operational costs, accounting costs, finance costs, some rent cost, those kind of operations costs. Then you definitely would have a team. So there can be a sales guy cost or operations guy, marketing guy, or any consultant for that matter, any intern. So if you're paying an intern, say another 5,000, you start adding those amount and you'll get a sum of all the human resource costs. Likewise, there are marketing costs. So that is how you can just keep a track of all the expenses, categorize under the relevant head, and get an idea that, okay, probably I'm spending 2 lakh a month. I'm just taking an example here, right? And in that month, probably you may have made just 50,000 because your business has just got started. And whatever you're spending in cash, 2 lakh, and the money that you're able to fetch from the market, the difference is something that we call it as a burn. So I'm just finding out the burn. Burn means how much cash money that you are burning, means the money which is going into your business because you are earning a 50,000 revenue, but you are spending cash on so many different category of expense item, maybe human resource, marketing, operation. And I am actually, in a way, right now burning the money because the organization, your startup has not reached that level where the burn is zero or less than zero, right? The burn is a positive figure here, right? So just introducing a new term, your burn, right? And this is the simple way. My agenda was not to complicate life. Just open up your Excel. People earlier used to do obviously pen, paper, pencil, whatever you want to do. But point is, at least we should have those basic skills to start off. So Excel is one thing, right? So this is where every founder probably should get start off, right? Managing their expenses, any revenues coming in the Excel. Maybe, I could have shown a complete model also where you can forecast, because Sanjana mentioned in the beginning, you can even think about forecasting and budgeting. Just think of the same Excel. There are future months mentioned. Just forecast in the month of December 2020. For that example, we were putting August 2020. In December, I'm going to spend 5,000 on Facebook ad, 2,000 on LinkedIn, for example. So you can budget, you can forecast on that very same sheet where you are, sort of allocating certain money for certain expense item for the future. That's budgeting. Maybe you can just, use the same sheet for budgeting and forecasting, which is the another level of, add-on that you can do it on the very same sheet. So that's one thing. Now, moving on to another thing. Now, obviously people expect, if you are talking about going into the limelight of startup ecosystem, people expect the founder to be a little technology driven, right? Excel is again very basic skill that everyone has to have it, very, very honestly. But when we are talking about the next level of automation, even in the finance, don't take automation as a very big deal here. I'm just talking about how you can automate the basic things in finance, right? For example, you got a first client, right? After 2 months, you have made a product, you have got into the market, you got a first client. You will definitely bill him or her, right? So bill करोगे, invoice बनाओगे. Very simple, Excel पे invoice भी बन जाता है. I started by making a Excel format for a bill also. उस पे मैंने खुद से हाथ से लिखा, बिल बना के दे दिया, राइट? बट देर आर फ्री softwares available today. Free softwares available. You don't even have to pay. There are certain, they work on a freemium model. So when I say freemium model, certain features are available for free to an extent. say for 100 invoices, it's free. After that, maybe you need to pay, but तब तक जब तक 100 client हो जाएंगे तब तक हमारे पास पैसा भी आ जाएगा, and maybe we are better off in buying a better software, for example. So today we have Zoho, we have platforms like Bookkeepy, जहाँ पे you free of cost can make invoices. Maybe I can take a leverage of showing you also that one platform. Let me just reshare the screen. That will give you another perspective. Let me, yeah, this is the one. So see, this is bookkeeping. So you don't have to do anything. It's like, you just go to the CRM. CRM means
So
customer.
sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. Screen is not visible.
Okay. Okay. I think the screen is not shared, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah. 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 I just see there was a pop-up. Thank you so much, Sanjana, for letting me know. I think now it's visible. You can add. And
Yes.
I'm sorry, I'll keep on, share and unshare because I want to speak to the audience as well and I want to show them as well. So yeah, thank you so much, Sanjana, for the help. Now, so this is the bookkeeping software I was talking about. A very freemium kind of a model. They charge after a certain usage. So you go there, you just add a customer, add a customer, So there are all customers. You can create a customer list, add customer one by one. I think, yeah. So add customer one by one by putting all the details, their number, their GST number, anything, address, phone number, etc., etc., and you will have a complete list here, right? And when you go into the invoice, you just have to, you see, just click on create, and here you go. Everything is created automatically. You just have to select the name of the customer from your list. The number gets automated because you set a series of invoice number there automatically. The next one will choose 101, 102. You set the date of invoice, and you just have to put what product you are selling. You put the amount and GST, everything gets calculated automatically, and that's about it. And then you download that and maybe share from here itself. From here means from the system itself. And see, if I see, this is the complete details bill to with the address, email, what is the thing all about, what is the pricing, GST, everything automated. We just click, 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 and that's about it. So what I mean to say is maybe I know basic Excel is good enough. Maybe down the line it gives a very good impression to the customer as well when you share a uh, you know system generated invoices. They get a feeling that you are a very well driven, professionally driven organization as a startup also, right? So that's a small things in finance area. We should definitely start off from the very first day. It's not a rocket science, right? And obviously that's not gonna cost anything. I remember, probably you guys can take a note. There is a company that's also a startup, but a big startup today, Stripe. They offer a lot of free credits. If you are under incubation or acceleration for that matter, they have tie up with a lot of organizations and they give a lot of credits. Even for that matter, AWS that we saw in the sheet, they get, you can easily get a lot of free credits to get started because lot many organizations they are supporting startups these days, like the incubation centers. Likewise, right? So that's the point I wanted to make. Another thing is maybe another use case where you can automate is the payment collection, because बिल बन गया. बिल भी अब आपने बड़ा प्रोफेशनली ड्रिवन बना दिया, good looking bill which gives a real sense कि okay, you guys are really doing a good service, all that thing. But how do you collect the payment? Because probably many startups today are digital startups, technology startups. Obviously you have to collect payment online, and that's again the major important aspect, collecting payment. Because if you are delaying your payments, you are not able to receive your payments, there would be cash inflows and outflow problem. Means outflow means you as a business is just doing cash outflows and not able to recover money from the market, then you're going to have a problem, right? So you have to see, if you are spending in cash 100 rupees and you are delaying for 2 months, not collecting from your vendors or clients for that matter, uh, that 100 rupees that used to come. So there is a working capital that you need. to fund your business for 2 months, right? You understand basic finance. So that's where, payment collection is also very important. And in finance, you have to, do the payment collection as early as possible. So online collection of payment is a must. And today we have seen all across, even the sabzi wala, the vendors, they have a Paytm. Everybody has a Paytm, Google Pay, Phone Pay, and whatnot. So get Paytm on the very first day. Simple. A QR code you can send to the customers, and that's about it. And there are payment gateways, right? Payment gateways like Razorpay. We have used Paytm, Razorpay every day in and out because that's a must. Because if you're dealing with a digital product, your customer gonna land on your website, he will check out the product, he might like to buy the product. Why don't you want to give a chance to him to buy there and then if he's interested? So if you give that chance, buy now, and it takes him or her to the payment gateway, they will straight away pay you, and you get money collected in just seconds, right? So that's how it works, right? You have to provide a payment gateway on the platform, and maybe we were using Razorpay. I can just show you Razorpay for a second. What kind of a functionality in a very brief way, because I have to take a couple of more important points. So I'm just sharing one more time and request Sanjana ji to, yeah, thank you so much. Yeah. So this is the Razorpay payment gateway. Everything you get when the money got settled, in your account, all the transactions, you go to the transactions, you are able to see on what date who has transacted for what. So see, this is the payment ID, customer detail who has paid from this number on 6th June, we got 35,400 captured. Yeah. Or if you want more details, you can just go and see what from which credit card it has paid. Everything gets captured automatically. 13,000 we got paid on 6th June, 3rd June again 13,000. So that's how you can keep a track who which customer paying you what, and everything is automated. This is the dashboard where you are able to see. Here you can create payment links also. For example, right? If a customer is asking you on WhatsApp, please send me a payment link. You just go create a payment link, standard payment link. You just put what kind of amount you want to, for what product, customer details, and that's about it. Just 1 second it takes, and settlement details, because there is a lag period when the payment is collected by Razorpay or any fintech company whose account you are using. It takes 1 or 2 days as a settlement. So it whatever is getting settled, it starts coming into your bank account. So your bank account gets linked with Razorpay or a Paytm, and that's about it. So it's a very simple, dashboard. These companies like Paytm, Razorpay has made life so easy for the founders, I would say, because earlier they were still, technical product. I still remember I used to use CC Avenue for that matter. Very complicated, very bad dashboard. I moved from CC Avenue as a payment gateway to Razorpay. It's a unicorn company. It used to be a startup only, right? But now it's a unicorn, and they are automating so many things. It has made the dashboard so easy, user friendly. You are able to understand in just 1 second, and that's about it, right? So that's where one needs to go, even in the beginning, as a founder, because finance management is important, and you are able to manage everything through a single dashboard, right? Maybe start with Excel. Again, I'll go back to that. That's not a problem area. But again, for payment collection, because lot many things will be associated with your functioning of the business well. Earlier payment collection, and better customer experience by providing a better invoice and all those things. So that's where I wanted to touch upon, because these are the, prime things. Maybe I could take one more example, but I'll not take, because today we are using a virtual card also for our company. When I say virtual card, the company is like, probably you may not have heard Carbon Card. It's also a very big startup, and now they're creating a virtual card for the companies, for the startups, to manage their expenses. Because at the end, what happens is, I'll tell you an example where it comes into play. So you must be having your sales team or a admin team which are making expenses on behalf of the organization. When I say expenses, your HR of the company will be paying for all the petty cash, all the things on employee welfare, getting all the admin expenses, and maybe your sales team might be spending on travel, you know, booking a train ticket or a plane ticket or an accommodation, because they are spending on a company's behalf for all their travel. That's an official expense they are bearing. So the company can now give them the virtual card, and straight away they can spend from that card, and it goes from the company. So earlier there was a concept of reimbursement, राइट. सो सेल्स का बंदा जाएगा, 10,000 रुपये लगा के आएगा, फिर आके कंपनी में सबमिट करेगा रीइंबर्समेंट, फिर कंपनी देगी. राइट, सो उससे एम्प्लॉय को भी एक बेनिफिट हो जाता है कि यस, उसके एक्सपेंसेस डायरेक्टली कंपनी के अकाउंट से पे हो गए. सो देयर आर वर्चुअल कार्ड्स. इवन some credit is also being offered by those companies. Means credit, you can take the credit of 30 days, 60 days, which is definitely a benefit for any new startup, because उनको 60 दिन या 90 दिन का भी क्रेडिट मिल जाता है, तो स्टार्टअप के लिए कैश फ्लो मैनेज करना बहुत आसान हो जाता है. सो आई नॉट गो इनटू द कार्बन कार्ड स्टफ, बट यस, देयर आर मेनी innovations happening around the finance for helping the startups big time, right? So that's another thing. अब ये तो रहे मेरे, आई वुड से, 3 पॉइंट जहां पे हमने पहली बात करी. आई जस्ट गो अ लिटिल बैक टू समराइज बिफोर मूविंग टू द फोर्थ वन. पहला कि चलो कुछ नहीं आता, लेट्स स्टार्ट ऑफ विद द एक्सेल, राइट? जस्ट राइट डाउन एक्सपेंस, रेवेन्यू, बर्न, प्रॉफिट तो पहले दिन नहीं होगा. इट माइट स्टार्ट कमिंग आफ्टर कपल ऑफ मंथ्स और अ ईयर, आई डोंट नो, डिपेंड्स अपॉन द प्रोडक्ट एंड द मार्केट यू आर वर्किंग ऑन, राइट? सो एक्सेल पे करा, फिर मे बी थोड़ा सा ऑटोमेट कर लिया इनवॉइसेस, पेमेंट गेटवेज, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. और एक हमने तीसरी बात ये भी की थी कि हम उसी शीट पे वी कैन डू दी बजटिंग एंड फोरकास्टिंग. मतलब we are just planning how we were gonna spend the money on the future months, coming months, right? चौथी चीज जो मैं बोलना चाह रहा हूँ कि वो ये है, जहाँ पे we can really engage a financial consultant, and that might be important, maybe not on the very first day, but yes, after a couple of months. I'll tell you the reality. At the end, जब हम स्टार्टअप चालू करते हैं, वी हैव टू डील विद लॉट ऑफ कंप्लायंसेस. पहली चीज तो हमने अभी जरा सा हमने वी टॉक्ड अबाउट रजिस्टरिंग द स्टार्टअप इटसेल्फ. चाहे आप एलएलपी बना रहे हो अंडर लिमिटेड लाइबिलिटी पार्टनरशिप, और अ प्राइवेट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन अंडर द कंपनीज एक्ट, राइट? तो पहले तो वो रजिस्टर कराना पड़ेगा. सो ऑब्वियसली यू माइट लाइक टू एंगेज अ चार्टेड अकाउंटेंट और अ कंपनी सेक्रेटरी who's a financial consultant, we call them as, right? It is not a very big expense item, but you can get it done professionally. It's a service cost और वो देना पड़ता है. So that is where a independent financial consultant comes into play. That's the fourth thing that I wanted to introduce very honestly today, because it's important. You have to deal with at times a guy who's not a part of your organization, but he can really be helpful in building your organization from a compliance and a financial parlance. That's one. That's the point I wanted to emphasize on. अब होता क्या है कि आगे जाके when you are क्रिएटिंग एन इनवॉइस, अब आपने इनवॉइस में आपने नोटिस किया होगा, आई टॉक्ड अबाउट जीएसटी, goods and service tax. So when we are working in India, for example, we are liable to pay such taxes we collect, right? So for example, your cost is your product price is 100 rupees, and your pay, your customer, on your service there's an 18% GST. So there's a 5%, 12%, 18%, 36%, 28%, whatever. But yes, if it is 18%, I'm taking an example, 18% GST. So obviously you're gonna charge the client 118 rupees, 118, right? And that 18 rupees, as a company, as a registered company, you are liable to deposit to the government. उसको हम जीएसटी फाइलिंग कहते हैं. ये भी फाइनेंस के अंडर आता है. ये छोटी छोटी चीजें जो आपको पहले दिन पता लगेंगी एज अ फाउंडर, कि अच्छा, ओ इनवॉइस बन गया, ओ इनवॉइस पे 18% जीएसटी लिखना है, ओके, सो नाउ ये जीएसटी भी कलेक्ट करके सरकार को जमा कराना, राइट? और अगर आप 10 लोगों से ऊपर हो जाते हो, तो आपका ईएसआईसी आ जाता है, एम्प्लॉय स्टेट इंश्योरेंस कॉर्पोरेशन. सो आई नॉट गो इन टू द डिटेल, दे माइट गेट लिटिल टेक्निकल, बट आई कम टू अ समरी पार्ट कि इतनी चीजें कंप्लायंसेस की और फाइनेंस रिलेटेड आ जाती हैं कि you may not be a CA or a chartered accountant or a CS. You might have to engage a financial consultant, because हमें 3-4 महीने बाद लगा कि यार ये एक ऐसा चीज है जो आउटसोर्स हो जाता है. तो हमेशा एक स्टार्टअप, मैंने कहा था ना कि सबके लिए सबसे प्राइम इंपॉर्टेंट चीज क्या होती है? प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट एंड जीटीएम। तो इसको छोड़ भी नहीं सकते। और यूजुअली 90% ऑफ दिस फाउंडर्स दे स्टार्ट विद आउटसोर्सिंग दिस फाइनेंस, right? When I say outsourcing means they are dependent on a particular financial consultant. It can be an independent consultant, it can be a financial organization also, or a CA firm also. It depends on the cost, because अगर मेरे पास सिर्फ 5,000 रुपए का बजट है तो मैं एक यंग सा इंटर्न आर्टिकलशिप वाला रख लूंगा, और थोड़ी ज्यादा कॉस्ट है तो एक चार्टेड अकाउंटेंट एज ए इंडिपेंडेंट कंसल्टेंट रख लूंगा। और इफ आई हैव अ गुड बजट आई माइट लाइक टू टेक अ सर्विस फ्रॉम अ कंप्लीट CA firm. It completely depends on your need, right? So वहाँ पे they would definitely help you in filing for GST. They will help you in ESIC submissions. You have to on a monthly basis deposit a insurance premium amount on behalf of your employees. So I'll not get into that. It's a government scheme where the insurance is covered by under the ESIC, Employee State Insurance Corporation. ऐसे PF होता है, PF सबने सुना होगा, प्रोविडेंट फंड, राइट? सो PF 20+ पीपल, अगर आपके स्टार्टअप 20 लोगों से ऊपर हो गया तो PF इंट्रोड्यूस हो जाता है। सो आपको PF भी डिडक्ट करके EPFO में, एम्प्लॉय प्रोविडेंट फंड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में सबमिट कराना पड़ता है, राइट? सो बहुत सारे हैं। अगर हम प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी की बात करें तो बहुत सारे कंप्लाइंसेस आते हैं, DPT3, एनुअल फाइलिंग आती है, फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स बनती हैं। सो अगेन पॉइंट इज, फाइनेंस की बात कर रहे हैं तो थोड़ा सा कंप्लायंस और वो सब आता है, और जहाँ पे आई ऑल्सो वुड नॉट सजेस्ट कि आप उन फाइनेंस पेपर्स में रिव्यू करने में फंस जाओ। पॉइंट इज, ये चीज जो है, जो कंप्लायंस रिलेटेड है, वो इजिली आउटसोर्स हो जाती है, एंड इट्स नॉट अ बिग कॉस्ट, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट, राइट? बट ये इंपॉर्टेंट भी है, बिकॉज यू हैव टू सी अ guy you have engaged is doing it fairly, honestly, and perfectly. That is very important, because aage jaake I'll tell you, if you are going for a fundraising and at that point in time a due diligence happens and a investor finds out that you are not compliant, your TDS is not filed, your GST is not deposited and whatnot, you may miss out on raising a fund. बिकॉज ड्यू डिलिजेंस के अंदर एक सबसे बड़ा ड्यू डिलिजेंस आता है, फाइनेंशियल ड्यू डिलिजेंस। यू आर गॉन देयर, सो दैट्स व्हाई आई डोंट वांट टू मिस आउट दिस पॉइंट, बट इट इज नॉट अ वेरी बिग डील। इट्स अ सिंपल process which any specialized person can be engaged for, and he or she can do it on a monthly basis on a retailer, and that's about it. Point is, जो मेरा पांचवा और आखिरी पॉइंट है, आउटसोर्सिंग मैंने वर्ड यूज जरूर कर दिया, बट दैट डजंट मीन दैट यू आर नॉट कीपिंग नंबर्स ऑन योर टिप्स, because we were talking about runway and a burn in the beginning, and burn I just showed also, very simple. 2 लाख रुपए खर्चा कर रहे हो महीने का, 50,000 रुपए का रेवेन्यू आ रहा है, तो 1.5 लाख रुपए का तो बर्न हो गया, मीन्स यू आर जस्ट बर्निंग मनी। इसको बर्न इसलिए कहते हैं क्योंकि ये तो उड़ गया पैसा, बर्न हो गया, राइट? सो हर मंथली आपके पास 1.5 लाख रुपए बर्न हो रहा है, और अगर मैं कहता हूं कि आपके पास 15 लाख रुपए आपने बना के रखे हुए हैं फ्रॉम फ्रेंड्स, फैमिली, या को फाउंडिंग टीम ने मिलके बना लिए अपनी सेविंग से, 15 लाख बने और आपको पता है कि आपका 1.5 लाख रुपए जा रहा है, तो उससे हम रनवे निकाल सकते हैं। मतलब 15 लाख डिवाइड बाय 1.5 लाख, मतलब 10 महीने का रनवे है मेरे पास। क्योंकि एवरी मंथ आई एम बर्निंग, नॉट स्पेंडिंग, आई एम बर्निंग 1.5 लाख, आई हैव 15 लाख, so it means I can survive for the next 10 months. That is what the runway is, means how much I can survive for the next 10 months. So why this is important? Because when an investor is interested in investing in you, they would like to have you guys to have certain survival period available. When I say certain survival period available, means certain runway for at least a year, कि तुम लोग बिना पैसों के 1 साल तक survive कर पाओ, because when it comes to a fundraising, it takes months and months, because till now I have also raised 2 million US dollars in couple of rounds. So we are last was pre-series A, and now we are planning a series A as well for 4 to 5 million USD in coming 2 to 3 months. So when we raise the seed or a pre-series A round, the transaction takes 6 to 7 months. It's a bare minimum time, because you have to understand term sheet banegi, you have to understand they will evaluate you, they would like to meet you, they will like to talk to your customer, they will like to talk to your vendors. It takes the whole conversation, and finalizing takes 2 to 3 months bare minimum. कोई आपको पैसा दे रहा है वो 2 दिन में तो दे नहीं देगा. They would like to talk to the founders, come to the office, evaluate, talk to the employees. They take customer testimonials and everything, and then they give you a term sheet. 2-3 महीने बाद सोच समझ के कि हाँ यार, आई कैन एज एन इन्वेस्टर, probably I can invest in you. उसके बाद द रियल चैलेंज इज द ड्यू डिलिजेंस, जो 3-3 4-4 महीने चलता है. दे विल ऑन योर फेस विल नॉट बिलीव यू. इफ आई से आई हैव अ रेवेन्यू ऑफ 5 crores in last year, why would they believe me? I'm nobody for them, right? So they're gonna ask for my financial reports. They will check what is the revenue I have clocked in, what are the expenses I am making. They will check everything, all GST, TDS filing, whether I am compliant or not. That's what due diligence is, right? So this whole exercise takes a lot of time. So that's why they are interested in the startups who have good runway, whose burn is less. Because if in case I'm burning 1.5 lakh and there is a startup who's burning much less and they're getting into the path of profitability, obviously the success probability is more with that startup, because they have almost stopped burning the money. I'm still burning 1.5 lakh, or there's another burning more, right? So these are the parameters which are very important. And just to tell you the KPIs, the last thing that I wanted to talk about was the KPI. So we have talked about burn, we have talked about runway. I'll not stress much on the KPIs in the very beginning, because when you are going for a seed round, three things are need to be very much sorted. Traction is something that we call. So traction, definitely those financial KPIs I mean to say. बट उससे पहले ना जो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट चीज होती है वो आपकी टीम होती है. हाउ इज योर फाउंडिंग टीम, whether they are complementing each other, the skill set is really good enough to take your venture, your product in specific in the particular sector to the next level, right? आपका आइडिया कैसा है, is it really innovative, is it really path breaking, is it really scalable? ये सारी बेसिक एलिमेंट्स बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट होती है, राइट? द मार्केट यू आर वर्किंग इन, द मार्केट इज बिग और नॉट, राइट? अगर आप छोटी मार्केट में ही काम कर रहे हो, वो सॉल्व कर रहे हो जो सिर्फ 5 लोगों की प्रॉब्लम है, रादर देन 50 lakh, then you are not into a business, very honestly. So ये जो 3-4 parameters हैं, they are actually very critical at a very early stage, you know uh, like we say pre-seed or a seed round, right? ट्रैक्शन आज की डेट में चौथा बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट एलिमेंट हो गया है, because now we have seen, a lot of startups are being non-compliant. We have seen in the news about Blue Smart, Byju's, who are going down because they were not working as per the compliance and everything. So traction भी बहुत important हो गया है कि they investors have a psyche now to get into a startup who has started making some money, I would say. you know if in India you are not making any revenue, it's hard to get a money on an idea, is what I feel. I may be wrong, I don't know. There are many debates on that and many perspective on that. But traction भी बहुत चौथा एक important चीज हो गई है. तो traction भी दिखाना पड़ेगा, revenues. So the KPIs that I talk about is, okay, you just talk about your revenues. Okay, I have made 10 lakh last month, उससे पहले 5 लाख, उससे पहले 2 लाख. सो आपकी ट्रेजेक्ट्री दिख रही है, 2 लाख, 5 लाख, 10 लाख. That's a proof of concept in a way that you are making revenue and you are growing by just three numbers also. So if you have revenues in the very beginning as a KPI, good enough. I'm not saying month on month, इतनी technicalities में मत जाओ. Year on year तो अभी आया ही नहीं होगा, maybe if you are at a very early stage, or but yes, burn runway is important. If you are not burning money, for example, you're spending 1 lakh and you are able to earn revenue of 2 lakh, means you are probably making profit as well, right? So those are startups which are light, but yes, growth and profitability are now both expected, राइट? इट्स नॉट जस्ट कि ये मैं ग्रोथ ही दिखाता रहा हूँ, क्योंकि हो सकता है 2 से 10 लाख पे पहुंचने के लिए तुमने पीछे से 50 लाख खर्च कर दियो, हु नोस, right? So it doesn't mean that growth is happening without having any profitability. So growth and profitability today is both has to go hand in hand, I would say. So yes, if you are very okay with the basic KPIs, the revenue numbers, maybe the expense numbers, uh, the number of clients you are acquiring. So if I say last month I have acquired 10 clients, this month I have acquired 20 clients, and now next month I have a pipeline of 50 clients. Good enough. This is a one very, very basic metric, the client acquisition, the CAC, customer acquisition cost. I'll not go into that. That will uh, take a lot of time to get into that. Maybe I'll just keep it like revenue number, customers acquisition number, maybe average revenue per user. If you are able to get more revenue from a particular client, average revenue per user. मतलब एक यूजर से पहले 5,000 लेते थे, धीरे धीरे वो बढ़ता जा रहा है. Probably you are able to add more features into the product, and you are able to increase the price of your product or add multiple products in your portfolio. You are increasing average revenue per client, right? So that's basic metrics that you can definitely keep, hold of, because definitely, anyone you are talking to gonna ask all these questions for sure. So yeah, maybe I think these were the agenda items in my kitty. So I just wanted to talk about that bookkeeping part, which is through Excel, forecasting part through Excel itself, maybe some technology products for invoicing or payment collection that we talked about, and then we talked about maybe getting to the next step of hiring a financial consultant for those compliance part, because that's something a professional guy like a CACS can only be able to do it. If you are a founder with that capability, fair enough. But if you're not, you can simply outsource. But yes, for funding and pitching, KPIs is the last part that we talked about. So yeah, I think Sanchana, I'm good to go. Maybe probably if in case there are certain uh, queries coming in, I can take a few for sure.
So firstly, thank you so much, sir, for such an enriching and practical presentation. एंड जो क्लैरिटी और फ्रेमवर्क्स आपने शेयर किए वो डेफिनेटली हमारे फाउंडर्स के लिए बहुत यूजफुल होगा. सो थैंक यू सो मच. So let's move into the Q&A segment. We already have a few questions from our founders. So the first question is, what are the some common mistakes early stage founders usually make?
Right, right. So the question is, what are the common mistakes a early founder makes? So it's not
Yeah,
specific to the finance. I think I can take a leverage of talking about
yeah,
anything. So yeah, what I have seen is yes, see, the early mistakes they do is definitely while making a team, right? So when you are making a team, you see naturally what happens is that you are my friend, okay, let's build together. That's a natural phenomena we have seen in college grads, and the ones who know each other, they have a good compatibility. But at the back of the mind, they should always think that that guy should be having certain complementary skill set also. It's a naturally driven process, but somewhere, if I am good in say finance, my another co-founder should be good in technology, right? That is somewhere a good aspect. So while creating a team, that's another thing. Hiring is the major area where a lot of founders make a mistake, I would say. Why? Because okay, founding team is in place, that's a naturally organic driven process. But when we are hiring, hiring the right guy becomes the most important aspect. We might miss out on hiring a guy who doesn't have skill set and who's just a burden or a liability on the early stage startup. That's a misfit. So as a founder, you need to gauge that guy very, very in depthly, because that can make or break your organization. Any bad hiring can take it for a fall. Another thing is, because we are talking about finance, तो ये पॉइंट तो मैं नेचुरली बोलूंगा ही बोलूंगा कि यार अगर तुमने वो फाइनेंस को ढंग से मैनेज नहीं किया, सपोज तुमने फ्रेंड्स और फैमिली से उठा लिए 1 लाख 2 लाख, बट वो 2 लाख में आपने उसको ऑप्टिमली एफिशिएंटली यूटिलाइज नहीं किया, गलती से 2 लाख रुपए में से 50,000 रुपए सपोज फेसबुक पे इन्वेस्ट कर दिया, लिंक्डइन पे इन्वेस्ट कर दिए फॉर एग्जाम्पल एड रन करने में, एंड यू सॉ कि यार यू डिड इट वेरी अर्ली, मे बी अभी कुछ प्रोडक्ट बन जाता, तब कर लेते, रॉन्ग टाइमिंग ऑफ मार्केटिंग, और मे बी रॉन्ग चैनल, योर money spent 50,000 on Insta might have given you a better output in comparison to LinkedIn, maybe for that matter. So spending on Insta would have more made more sense rather than LinkedIn. So कहीं पे भी एक फाइनेंशियल मैनेजमेंट गलत हो गई, गलत वेंडर हायर कर लिया, एक ऐप बनवा रहे हो, मैंने एक ऐप वाले को हायर किया था, उसने मुझे कोड दिया कि चलो मैं आपकी ऐप बना दूंगा 3 लाख रुपए में, ठीक है। अब वो ऐप उसने मेरे 4 महीने में कहा था बनाने में, उसने 6-10 महीने लगा दिए, और उसने और एक्स्ट्रा कॉस्ट भी लगा दी। तो यू नो मेरा भी स्टार्टअप बेचारा शुरू ही हुआ है, और मेरा एक रॉन्ग डिसीजन ऑफ गेटिंग दैट रॉन्ग वेंडर टू बिल्ड एन ऐप gone away, right? It can take my startup completely away. So बहुत सारे एग्जांपल्स हैं, फाइनेंस मैनेज ना हो पाना, गलत हायरिंग हो जाना। तो आई थिंक द लिस्ट इज वेरी लॉन्ग, आई वुड से। और इट डिपेंड्स, एक्चुअली इट डिपेंड्स, कहाँ पे आप गलत हो सकते। तो हर, कहते हैं ना, कदम फूक फूक के रखना है। तो आई थिंक यू हैव टू बी लिटिल कॉशियस while spending money, while hiring, while dealing with the vendors, everything। गलत कहीं पे आप ले रहे हो तो एकदम से लैविश ऑफिस मत लो, रेंट पे मत लो। को वर्किंग स्पेसेस अवेलेबल हैं, यू यूटिलाइज दैट। लोग AWS ले लेते हैं, पैसा स्पेंड करने लग जाते हैं। ट्राई फॉर गेटिंग फ्री क्रेडिट, ये सारी चीजें हैं जो बहुत मैटर करती हैं। एवरी पेनी सेव इज द पेनी अर्नड, आई वुड से। सो या मे बी आई, द लिस्ट इज लॉन्ग बट आई विल कीप द आंसर शॉर्ट मे बी फॉर दैट।
So thanks for answering this question. The next question is, how can we manage cash flow better when our revenue is still unpredictable?
राइट, राइट। सो देखो, मैं आजकल जो कॉन्सेप्ट चल रहा है, मे बी आई डोंट नो वेदर द ऑडियंस हैव हर्ड अबाउट फ्रूगल स्टार्टअप्स। So the concept is very, very, very important for me. I come from that kind of a background where I have a strong belief in a frugal startup, right? अभी सही बोला कि रेवेन्यू प्रिडिक्टेबल नहीं है, और वो हमेशा वैसे ही रहेगा। फोरकास्टिंग इज ऑलवेज ऑन द पेपर। सोचते हैं हम अगले साल, अगले महीने 1 लाख रुपए आने वाला है, बट आता 50,000 ही है, राइट? वी ओवर एस्टिमेट एट टाइम। सो predictability is definitely can't be in our hands. But the most important thing is the expense. The kind of money we are investing is definitely in our hands, right? So using these tools, having a planning on the Excel also will really help you plan out well where to spend wisely, right? और जो मैंने बोला फ्रूगल स्टार्टअप का कॉन्सेप्ट ये है कि यार, यू शुड स्टार्ट फ्रूगल। आई थिंक फ्रूगल, यू अंडरस्टैंड ना? फ्रूगल को हिंदी में कहते हैं कंजूस, राइट? तो कंजूसी से पैसा खर्चना बहुत जरूरी है। एज अ फाउंडर, यू डोंट हैव अ लग्जरी ऑफ स्पेंडिंग मनी लाइक अ CEO ऑफ अ बिग MNC। ये आप सोच के चलो। अगर आप फाउंडर बन गए हो और आपको लगता है मैं एक बड़े MNC का CEO बन गया हूँ, प्लीज डोंट हैव दैट काइंड ऑफ अ साइकी एट ऑल। आपको तो आप कंजूसी से चलना है। देखना है, अगर आपको रेंट पे जाना है तो 4 जगह जाना है कि वो ऑफिस एक जगह रेंट पे 10,000 का है, एक जगह 15 का है, एक जगह का 12 का है। तो क्या मैं 10 और 12 में डील कर सकता हूँ, या उस 10 वाले को भी 8 में ला सकता हूँ? सो यू हैव टू बी अ वेरी हार्ड नेगोशिएटर इन सेविंग मनी। जहां पैसा बच सकता है, बिकॉज वही जो पैसा बचा है यू माइट लाइक टू स्पेंड ऑन मार्केटिंग, बिकॉज एट द एंड मार्केटिंग इज अ वेरी कॉस्टली अफेयर, राइट? कहीं पे भी आप कोई एड रन करोगे, कहीं पे भी आप परफॉर्मेंस मार्केटिंग करोगे, मे बी इफ यू हायर अ SEO strategist और सोशल मीडिया मार्केटर, दे आर वेरी कॉस्टली अफेयर्स, राइट? सो कहीं पे भी, जहां पे भी जाओगे, यू हैव टू कीप सेविंग मनी। go with the concept of frugal startup, build your startup lean. Don't hire too much. If you need 2 people, hire 2 people, don't hire 4 people. It's a fixed cost on your head फॉर द होल ईयर, बिकॉज किसी को आप हायर करते हो तो उसकी सैलरी इज अ फिक्स कॉस्ट। डोंट गेट इनटू अ फिक्स कॉस्ट कॉन्सेप्ट, ट्राई फॉर अ वेरिएबल कॉस्ट कॉन्सेप्ट। मींस जहां पे लगता है कि वेरिएबल और आउटसोर्सिंग से काम चल सकता है, स्टार्टिंग में चलाओ, क्योंकि उससे पैसा बचता है। प्लान अच्छे से करो। तो आई थिंक दीज आर द सर्टन टिप्स विच आर वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, और इफ इन केस यू आर एबल टू डू इट वेल, you will, the chances of you know being successful might increase, क्योंकि सक्सेस का तो आई डोंट नो, इट्स a very hypothetical stuff, depends on lot many things, so I'll not comment on that, yeah.
So the last question is, how should startup deal with irregular income and high operational cost in the initial phase?
यार, हाई ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट को तो मैंने जैसे बोला, एक एग्जांपल में भी दिया बाय चांस, कि हाई ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट में तो आप ऐसे फाउंडर बन जाओ कि आप हार्ड नेगोशिएटर हो। जहां पे पैसा बचा सकते हो बचाओ। 5 लोग हैं तो 5 लोगों के लिए एक बड़ा ऑफिस मत लो, पर सीट पे कोवर्किंग स्पेस ले लो, उसमें भी नेगोशिएट करो, फॉर एग्जाम्पल। सो हाई ऑपरेशनल कॉस्ट होती नहीं है मेरे लिए फॉर अ स्टार्टअप। I don't believe in high operation cost. My operation cost has to be lean, has to be, you I have to go frugal, like I said. So I think that's irregular income. I would again not buy this point because रेवेन्यू इरेगुलर हो सकता है. आई थिंक इनकम तो टर्म नहीं है, रेवेन्यूज तो इरेगुलर होंगे, अनप्रेडिक्टेबल, लाइक वी डिस्कस इन द लास्ट क्वेश्चन. बट आपको अपने फंड्स को तो मैनेज करके चलना है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, वो इरेगुलर नहीं हो सकते. यू हैव टू प्लान आउट वेल. लाइक एज वी टॉक्ड अबाउट रनवे, सो आपको पता होना चाहिए कि आपके पास 5 लाख रुपए हैं टू स्पेंड फॉर द नेक्स्ट 12 मंथ्स. 12 महीनों में यूज करोगे 50,000 रुपये महीने के हिसाब से. कहीं ना कहीं वो प्रिडिक्टेबिलिटी आपको कॉस्ट साइड पे लानी पड़ेगी कि यू आर सॉर्टेड. आप अगर सोच रहे हो कि एकदम से यू हैव ओनली 10,000 इन योर हैंड, 10,000 में तो आजकल कुछ भी नहीं होता, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट. और अब एक फाउंडर चले कैसे, एक मे बी कॉलेज का ग्रेजुएट जो भी पास आउट हुआ है, उसका तो कोई रेगुलर सोर्स ऑफ इनकम भी नहीं है. आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड वे दे आर कमिंग फ्रॉम. तो उनके लिए क्या है ना, सबसे पहले दे हैव टू अप्रोच फ्रेंड्स एंड फैमिली. देयर इज नो अदर ऑप्शन. कोई फॉर्मल एंजल इन्वेस्टर और अ वीसी फंड विल नॉट come to you just on your idea. So you have to take support of a friends and family. Or today we are talking to Satna Incubation Center. So definitely incubation centers, they give grants of 25 lakh, 30 lakh. तो कहीं ना कहीं से इतना पैसा तो निकालना ही है. 5 लाख का ग्रांट या whatever, I don't know. Either it can be a grant or a support from the friends and family, or a co-founder comes together, अपने अपने घर से 2-2 लाख रुपए लाके 6 लाख रुपए बना रहे हैं. कुछ पैसा तो चाहिए, और वो प्रिडिक्टेबल मनी होना चाहिए, जिससे कि यू हैव अ प्लान कि आई विल हायर अ टेक्नोलॉजी कंसल्टेंट, उसको मैं महीने के 20,000 रुपए दे दूंगा. एक इंटर्न रख लूंगा, बीटेक का बंदा है, वो मेरी ऐप बनाना शुरू करेगा. फिर मैं एक मार्केटिंग का बंदा लिखूंगा जो मेरी वेबसाइट पे वो मार्केटिंग करना शुरू करेगा. कहीं ना कहीं मुझे 40-50 हजार रुपए में खेलते खेलते आई हैव टू बिल्ड अ एमवीपी, मिनिमम वायबल प्रोडक्ट. उसके बिना यही दिमाग चलाना है फाउंडर को कि वो कैसे in a very least resources, that too accumulated from near around people, through incubation, through acceleration, through friends and family, through co-founding team, कहीं से भी एक ऑप्टिमल लेवल का बजट लगा के एक प्रिडिक्टेबल एक्सपेंस होना बहुत जरूरी है, सो दैट ही और शी कैन प्लान आउट अ पाथ. और जैसे ही 6 महीने में अगर वो एक पाथ से एक एमवीपी बना लेता है, मार्केट में एंटर कर लेता है, देन थोड़ी सी इनकम जनरेट होने का ऑप्शन आ जाता है. राइट.
So thank you so much, sir, for answering this question and for sharing your time expertise in today's session. And definitely we'll connect in future also. And to
Sure.
all our audience also, thank you for being with us. We truly hope this session gave you practical tools, valuable knowledge, and a fresh perspectives to take your startup journey forward with confidence. So until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep building.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, Sanjana.
Thank you, sir.
Take care. Bye.